You're a boss. You will beat him. What's going on, everybody? Bare Hands here, bringing you another Clash Royale video. Thanks so much for joining. Happy to have you here, and today we are going to talk about the PB, your personal best. It's an exciting time. You're using a deck. You've been using it for a while, but today you're kicking butt, you're taking names, and you're higher than you have ever been on the trophy level. And why is this? Why has that happened today? It's either you switch decks and you have just an amazing deck, or you're just playing better. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into a battle here, and I'm just going to show you a couple of battles that I have, kind of talk through the mindset I had during the battles, and give you an idea as to how you might be able to approach it differently when you're thinking about, well, really when you're in the heat of the moment. And so let's jump in here. Our first name, against somebody I can't pronounce, but you will see very quickly that it is a balloon deck. And when I started playing with this deck, my Lumberjack Mini P.E.K.K.A., I quickly found that my greatest deficiency is in air defense. And so we're going to find out pretty quick that I'm going to lack in fighting air, and so defense is hard against some decks. So the first thing you need to do is spend the first part of the game learning what your opponent's deck is. In this instance, I'm dealing with his giant, level 8 giant, level 4 balloon, higher level cards. Another easy thing to do is get discouraged that your opponent is playing with higher level cards, but don't. You're a boss. You will beat him. And so this guy has got higher level cards. He has a balloon deck. I know pretty much most of the cards in his deck at this point, and so it gives me the idea that I'm playing against a deck that I struggle to defend against his big push. What do we do in that instance? Well, let's see. What we're going to do is we're going to build up our own push after he decides to poison out our elixir collector. We're going to put a giant in the back and start to build up a push of our own. He is going to answer our push by playing his own push. Alright, he's just going to waste a bunch of elixir. He's going to answer our push with his units, and so I actually get my main push down. Lumberjack in the front, Mini P.E.K.K.A. behind the giant. The giant's going to hit the rage. It's very hard to counter. It's really strong, and it ends up doing a lot of damage to his tower, and he isn't able to get any hits off with the giant. And he is able to zap away my guards and kill my princess here, but I'm not too concerned. Again, I'm going to soak up a little damage and just kind of prepare to have to deal with that balloon again. And by prepare to deal with the balloon, what I really mean is probably just push and crush his other side. And when you really struggle against a specific deck attack, a lot of times the only thing you can do is push the other side. Another thing, if you'll notice here, what I had done on my last push was put the giant in the back to build up a push. He was able to defend it pretty well, so on the last one, I just threw down a quick push. Don't want to throw down the same stuff over and over again. And here we have his balloon. I'm trying to slow the balloon down, but I'm not going to be able to stop it from taking out our tower. And so we're sitting in a position here now where he knows his push can get to my tower. Here we go. Level 8 giant coming toward us. My only option is here to push and kill his tower because I cannot stop his balloon. If you don't recognize that in the moment, you're not going to push the other tower. You're going to try and defend your side, and then you're going to lose. And we crushed it. His balloon was almost directly over our tower, so I was about to lose by a split second. Okay? So become more aware of your opponent's deck. It's great to play defensive in the beginning of the game. What that does is it allows you to figure out what cards they have. And then when you know what cards they have, you can start to plan your attacks depending on that. Don't just rush in and start attacking unless they're just wasting elixir, waiting on you to put something down. Don't throw everything down on the map. we're going to jump in here against Nutella Man, and you will notice I just came off a really clutch win against the balloon deck. So I'm going to jump in, and it turns out the meta up here where I am actually has a lot of air attacks. And so playing against decks that I thought were actually the bane to my deck, I'm able to now start winning more on average because I've recognized how my deck deals with it. How do I counter? In this instance, he's doing what I just said not to do. He threw down all of his attack. He's got a balloon on the right side, a giant on the left side. That's a ton of elixir. He threw down an ice wizard. He threw down goblins. He's got his barbarians down, and we've already walked over one of his towers because our counter push killed it. Okay, we've got a princess dealing damage to those barbarians. I'm just gonna let them roll because he's gonna do a little bit of damage to the tower, but it's not gonna be enough. And we have our giant still alive. Sometimes that feels like the eternal giant. Still alive up there beating on the tower. So what I'm going to do is play defensive. It worked last time. Why not do it again? He's going to throw his ice wizard in the back and his giant. So in this instance, I'm just going to go ahead and push. Okay? He's going to take my tower. So what? We're going to push. It worked last time. It's going to work this time as well, I feel. He spent tons of elixir on a giant and a balloon. It's going to do nothing to attack our units. And so we run up to the tower and destroy it. Okay, so first thing you need to do, figure out what your opponent's deck is. You also want to make sure you're focusing on what deck you're losing to and identify, is this something you need to actually change your deck to deal with? In my case, I thought I needed more air defense. That's not necessarily the case. Even though you don't have cards to counter, a lot of times, unless they just have a hard counter to your deck, a lot of times you can just attack in a different way, okay? I've had a friend ask how to counter the giant witch combination. I don't know if this is going to be a good explanation of how to do that, but they do use the royal giant and the witch, a similar concept. And so let's just kind of see how I tank and spank to deal with that combination. First of all, I really intimidate him in the beginning and make him waste a ton of elixir. And then I'm going to try to counter his miner, but I place my lumberjack on the bottom instead of on the top, which I feel like people have been putting it at the top way more than they do on the bottom like they used to. And then I play a pretty lousy counter to the witch ice wizard here, and it wasn't a very good play. My princess is a little too far up, so she's going to get shanked out by the witch. His lumberjack is going to go down, give his witch a couple of hits. I'm going to try and counter the Valkyrie over on this side, so I'm kind of scrambling to defend here at this point. Not doing a very good job of defending. I mean, I'm doing a fairly good job, but I lost my elixir collector. I took damage on my tower. He's got 2 pumps up, but I know what most of the cards in his deck are. So kind of use the first minute of the match to figure out what their cards are. It's okay if you take some damage. Now you have knowledge, and knowledge is power. And so here he comes again. He's got his ice wizard. He's got his witch. He's got his royal giant. So first time seeing the royal giant, we're going to go down with the princess to splash damage away. And here's the tank and spank. Throw the giant off to the side and then hit the glass cannon on the other side. It's going to chop away the witch. It's going to chop away the other damaging units. And he did damage, but now we know we can tank and spank that. I'm not going to be surprised by the royal giant anymore, and we're more prepared for it. Maybe I should have blocked that lumberjack there. It ended up doing quite a bit of damage to my tower, but now I've got 2 pumps down. I'm feeling pretty good about my position. I'm going to throw my princess down on the map. His ice wizard is going to come, and we're going to push on the other side, okay? The tank and spank worked decently, but now we're just going to force him to deal with our other side. He's going to throw a miner down in a really weird spot. And then he's going to be doing damage over on the right side, but look at that damage get stopped. He's unable to take that tower out. And now, at this point, he's just dealing with countering. So we've got like 15 seconds left, and he's pushing the left side because I pushed pressure over there. If we had just stayed over on the right side, I would have surely lost at this point. But I forced him to switch lanes, and he could have placed his... Oh, look at this. 1 health on the tower. 1 health! And... Oh, I was cringing at this point. I was thinking, wait, does he have a spell? Does he have a spell? And I was able to zap away his tower with 1 HP. Felt like we'd be fighting there for a long time, but luckily for me, able to get in there, take out that tower with a zap spell, and end that game. Okay, the last one we're going to look at is a game against 3 Musketeers. Again, a deck that I find I do not shine very well. I don't have the Fireball in this deck. I don't have Barbarians, which I feel is a great counter. I don't have Freeze Valkyrie, and so I kind of have to figure out how to counter this card in different ways. And what I'm going to do is throw down the Elixir Pump, as is tradition, and he splits the Musketeers. This is a tough thing, because if you think about it, there's 3 Elixir over on my left and 6 Elixir over on my right, and if I spend more than that to counter each one, I'm out Elixir. For instance, my Lumberjack was 4 Elixir against his 3, and my Guard's Princess pretty much matched up to the amount of Elixir he spent over on the right. I guess the redeeming factor there was I was able to deal damage to his left tower, and then get a pretty good Elixir trade here on his minion horde, and take the tower out with that mini P.E.K.K.A. Man, I absolutely love the Ice Spirit Zap spell. Totally messes people's decks up. Here we go. We're going to take out this Hog on this side. And then at this point, we just kind of want to sit back a little bit and play defensive, but not too defensive. If you allow them to get too far into the game with the 3 Musketeers, it just becomes too much to deal with. He gets too much worth for his Elixir, being able to play 3 Musketeers for 9 Elixir. The reason why he can't take too much advantage before the 1 minute mark is because he's unable to get tanks in front of that good Elixir spend. And so he throws them all down at the bridge, realizing I don't have a spell to deal with it. So I'm going to tank and spank here. Throw down the Giant on the side. I don't have a lot of Elixir. I'm sitting here like freaking out that I can't play any Elixir. And I was able to stop it. Barely. He did a ton of damage on that tower. And so I need to jump in here, try to deal with this Hog. But that tower is so low. So I'm going to counter his Princess with my Princess. I've got my mini P.E.K.K.A. going in, but not really able to do a whole lot there. The mini P.E.K.K.A. dies. The Princess cleans up the minion horde, and I'm going to push here. I'm just going to end up pushing, and I know he's going to throw his 3 Musketeers down, so I get the backup there and the Ice Spirit to freeze them. And look at that counter. That was an amazing counter. I get the tower down really low, but still, at this point, with a 3 Musketeer deck, you could take a lot of damage really quickly, so you need to be aware of that. Oh man, oh it's so tense. I really needed my Princess to change and point over on that minion horde, but I know he's going to play his 3 Musketeers in the middle of my map. I have to get that tower out. You need to realize what people do with certain cards, and so watch. That tower would have went down almost instantly. 600 health was nothing. Those 3 Musketeers would have destroyed me, but I was able to push that side before he was able to get any real defense or offense up. When you're playing, focus on what the other person has. And then when you fight decks that you lose to over and over again, try playing differently against them. I know that may sound elementary, but you don't necessarily think a lot of times to use cards in different ways, or try countering things in different ways. A lot of times I was shy to throw the Giant down to take damage while I took care of the other units. But just trying it, a lot of times it's amazing. You end up crushing all their damage dealers. Your Giant still has half health, and then you walk up and take out their tower, and you would have never known that unless you just tried it differently. So try things in different ways. Take the hit. Go into games just to try specific things. Lose trophies because it's not about winning or losing trophies. If you want to reach personal best, you need to become a better player. It's not all about trophies and getting more and more trophies. Sure, that kind of shows you where you are in your skill level, but don't let that hinder you from trying new things. I know a lot of times I'll be, I'm at 3,300 trophies right now. So if I lose the next game, I'm going to drop down, and I'm at my personal best. I don't want to lose trophies. That is okay. Losing trophies isn't bad, per se. It's not about gaining or losing trophies. That's not how it should be. It should be about becoming a better player. Change the way that you play. Focus on becoming better. Let's open up this silver chest. I'm going to wrap up this episode here. We got 72 gold. We got a Valkyrie. We got some ice spirits. Can't wait to get those ice spirits up to level 10. That's going to be fun. They'll be able to tank shots from the crown tower and then get a shot off. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Thank you so much for stopping by, watching the video. Any advice that you have, put it down below. Be happy to hear from you. Thanks so much. Have an awesome day. And join me next time for more Gaming with Bare Hands.